Is this a mirror wrap on the front end? It's not being purchased as a contract for deed because it's in Texas. See, again, I'm just going to publish this so that people can see how many facts, figures, consultation, little bits and pieces go into working with Creative TC. We have your back. We have the whole transaction. We're the best because we're doing the deals and we're making sure you get the deals done the best way available for you. You just got off the phone with a title company that does sub-2 transactions, but they don't do what?
They don't do title checks or title insurance or anything.
What do they do?
They facilitate the paperwork as a neutral party.
Does that mean they don't create anything? You just have to bring everything and then they do what? Arrange notaries?
I guess so.
What do they even? You called them to get resolution on what issue? They wouldn't what?
They wouldn't file a memorandum.
Isn't that facilitating the paperwork for a transaction? Can you record a memorandum for us? No. Okay, what? Actually, come to find out, we don't even we don't do anything. We don't do a title search. We don't issue any. What in the world? Let's have the title company's name. Who is that? Bunch of weirdos. What is this?
Community National Title.
Community National Title will facilitate paperwork. Facilitate what? Paperwork?
Paperwork.
For a sub-2 transaction. They won't record a memorandum. They won't do a title search. They won't, like, what good are they? Are they just an escrow only account then?
They must
We need
be.
to transfer title. You can get, what kind of loan is this for? Do we know? But we're going to have to find that out either way, because other title companies may not take it either if it's like an FHA or a VA loan. But if it's a conventional, we should be able to get a title company to give title insurance and just accept the sub-2 portion. Like if it's related to a due on sale, then that's accepted from the title insurance policy. We need to know if our client wants title insurance in the first place. But even, by the way, for other people watching this, title attorneys in Texas also don't typically issue insurance based on our experience. Title insurance. They will just close and facilitate the transaction. Now, that includes contributing a bunch of paperwork. That includes filing memorandums when we request them to do so. So what, and a title search if you want to see the title search. But actually, some of them piecemeal that. You actually have to request it separately. That business model doesn't make any sense to me right now. Why would you facilitate a transaction, not run a title search?
Right.
What good is that? I can run a title search for $90. And then how much were they going to charge? We don't even know that, do we?
Yeah, we don't know that.
My goodness. All right, we're going to have to transfer escrow for this. This is Community National Title is absolutely not qualified to run a creative finance deal here. That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. So how many parties are involved in this transaction that you as a transaction manager need to get a hold of to make sure that we're on track to migrate title? Because this is unacceptable.
There's a partnership buying, so we'd have to deal with them and the seller and the end buyer because it's assigned.
Okay. So the end buyer is an investor or owner occupant?
Is an investor.
Okay. Which one of those is our client? The middleman or the end buyer?
Middleman.
Okay.
And then the buyer later.
Oh, the end buyer plans to wrap it later. Yeah. Okay. So we need to determine whether or not they're going to want title insurance. And if that's a requirement, we're going to have to look and see what that type of loan is. We need a copy of the mortgage statement. So we need to figure out what the end buyer intends to do or wants out of the closing, which is going to take some coaching. They don't know what they want because they're just trying to do the deal. So that's fine. That's where our consultation comes in, right? We're consultative. We provide value by saying, here's what options you have. Here are the implications of those various options. Which would you like to choose? We want our clients making informed decisions. There are times when people are like, I want to do this. And I'm like, you should know this, this, and this about that. Do you have any questions? Oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah. Okay. So here, let's dive into this topic. Okay. Now that you have the information, do you still want to do the thing you asked for or not? I'm okay. You say yes or no. We're do what you want to do, as long as it's not illegal. But I want you to make informed decisions, not just say, here's what I heard on a video on YouTube. Can we do that? Yes, technically we can, but I want you to know this, this, and this first. Are you still okay with that? Yes. Good. No. Okay, cool. Let's avoid that trouble. So we're going to be consultative with the end buyer. Say, do you want title insurance on this? If we can get it. We can't promise that we can get it. Depends on the loan type,
It's
and
a
that will
VA.
determine. It's a VA loan?
Yes.
Okay. So that will narrow down who we can turn to as a title company. Again, we're consultative in that because we know who we can use for various intended outcomes. Is this a mirror wrap on the front end? It's not being purchased as a contract for deed because it's in Texas. See, again, I'm just going to publish this so that people can see how many facts, figures, consultation, little bits and pieces go into working with Creative TC. We have your back. We have the whole transaction. We're the best because we're doing the deals and we're making sure you get the deals done the best way available for you. Anyway, back to what I was saying, that's going to affect which title companies we can use. That's going to affect if we can get title insurance. Entry and exit strategies all depend on what type of loan it is, what state it's in, and all these other things. So we need to gather all that information, determine what the end buyer wants, talk to our client and say, hey, we need to transfer a title. But we also found out from the buyer that they want to do this and this and this. We know that their exit strategy is either to hold or to wrap or assign or whatever they're going to do downstream. So we understand their requirements so that helps us narrow the field of what we can do with it. Now we come back to our client and say, hey, based on what they want to do and the fact that the title company A is unacceptable, we need to migrate title from this company to one of these others. Do you have any other requirements or objections? And just make sure that they're aware. We don't want to do something without their permission. It's not our deal.
Absolutely.
We're consultants, right? So ultimately, the deal has been assigned to the end buyer, but the party B and C need to be together in that decision to migrate title, and party A also needs to agree, but we don't need to talk to them until the other two have already been gotten on the same page. So that's more than coordination. I mean, that's coordinating three parties for sure, but it's more than just bringing paperwork to let the transaction go. Like, we're not just chucking paperwork at somebody else who's actually doing the deal. We're making the deal. We are project managers actively making sure the deal can get done. We're kicking roadblocks out of the way. We're discovering stuff ahead of time. We're doing discovery, requirements elicitation, and all these things. So it's very involved. It's dynamic. We're objectives and outcomes oriented rather than being task oriented. And if I can say this for the YouTube video, that's the difference between Creative TC and all the rest. Creative Transaction Consultants. The C for us stands for consultants. We have transaction managers because we are project managers. We are focused on the outcome, the objective. The end goal is what? We'll determine that. We'll determine your requirements along the way. And that's how we make sure you get the best deal done, is we understand what you want. We understand what limiting factors are involved with your desired outcomes, and we focus on the outcomes. And so the way to get up a mountain may not be the same path every time. If we're trying to reach the peak of the mountain and conditions are different one day versus another, or if you have great boots or if you have ropes, right? Depends on what tools you have at your disposal. You can climb a mountain a ton of different ways. As long as you reach the top, the way to get up a mountain may not be the same path every time. If we're trying to reach the peak of the mountain and conditions are different one day versus another, our job is to help you get to the top. So two deals could take two completely different paths to reach their intended outcomes to get to the top. So what do you need right now from me as a supervisor to go accomplish the client's objectives?
So I am going to contact the end buyer and I'm going to check to see if they want title insurance. I can't imagine that you wouldn't want a title search.
That's outrageous. Yes, That's where I'm going to say, look, you can make your own informed decision not to get a title search. And I will tell you to your face, that is stupid. I think I would hand that off. You can make that decision, but you're not going to close with us. I'll refund money and say, have a nice day. I don't want my name attached to that because there's so many things that could go wrong that I don't want my company's name affiliated with a deal where somebody does something that foolish. And there are certain circumstances where people bring us deals and I'm like, this whole situation, no, I'll do it this way because this is reliable and I've done this before and I know that it's a solid outcome, a solid way to get there. It may not achieve some of your wants, but it does accomplish your needs. Also, it's legal as opposed to whatever you're trying to do here. Some of you know what I'm talking about.
Agreed. Okay, so I'll go to party C and then I'll circle back to party B. And if both of them can agree, then we'll move to party A.
And does party A know about C?
Yes, they met yesterday.
Okay, so it's an ABC. It's not an AB plus BC. It's an ABC.
Correct.
Okay, that understanding is also something that's really important to establish. So I'm glad you know that already. Shoot, man, it's crazy how far into a deal some people get and never find that out. Some transaction coordinators. And it's really frustrating. Sometimes clients come to us and they're like, hey, what do we do with this? And I'm like, well, where's this paperwork? Where's that paperwork? How did you get to this point? Well, we hired a transaction coordinator. And then come to find out, I'm like, well, how much do they charge? And they're like, same or just a slightly bit less than what we charge. And I'm like, what value did they provide? Are you kidding me? And we get asked to clean up other people's work. And I'm like, we're going to charge our rate for it. You should go ask for a refund from that person, from the other transaction coordinator who didn't coordinate. You should ask for a refund for transaction coordination because that's not what you got. You got some administrative assistance. And that's a low hourly wage job. You should be paying 10 to 20 bucks an hour, depending upon how skilled they are, for an administrative assistant who just does emails for you.
It's hard that people don't know the level of experience that and requirements that they need until they're in a pickle. And that's the hard.
Ooh, I'd like to make this point. That's another thing about working with Creative TC, which is a team, right? We've got like 10 or 12 people available. And we work in a virtual office around one another so that when a question comes up, guess what? It's never anybody's first time dealing with anything because we have a team. That's the difference between, I come from IT. And one of the things about that was the selling point for IT, outsourced IT management versus an in-house IT person, right? It's the same thing, whether you're a wholesaler that wants to hire a transaction coordinator in-house versus outsourced to a small or 1 or 2 man team versus us. We do cost more because we're better, because we have a bigger bench of experience. They talk about the bench. Think of a ball game where there's a bench of players. We have a bench of players. So if somebody gets into a situation, oh, I've never heard of this. I was expecting the deal to be like this, but then they just asked me about that. Guess what? He or she has a whole team of people to turn to, including me. How would I handle this? Has anybody already dealt with this? So at this point, where we've done dozens of deals per month for over a year, there is very rarely a situation we have not dealt with. So if you want the comfort of a team who has the experience, who has other people who have had experience, you're never really getting somebody it's their first time doing something. Whereas if you get a one-man team, almost everything is their first time, even if they've done deals before. Trust me, I've been there. I've been in a place where everything was the first time I've ever done it. It takes a long time to get past that. That's why people hire Creative TC.
All right. Well, I got some calls to make. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.